I've come here to meet Yoram Hazony, an expert in the politics and theology of Judaism. I want to know why the end of days is so closely tied to this city.
You're looking at the absolute epicenter of the monotheistic world. Right over there, that's the Dome of the Rock, which according to Islamic tradition, Muhammad ascended to heaven from right that spot. And over there, the Mount of Olives and Gethsemane below, where Jesus and his disciples used to meet. And of course, down here is the Western Wall Plaza, the holiest shrine prayer location for all of the Jewish people in Judaism. Now, this whole area is called the Temple Mount.
This is the Temple Mount.
The temple was a building 7 stories high, stood on top of this Temple Mount, on top of that flat area where those trees are.
In 20 BC, King Herod the Great built a temple where Jews could worship their God. It was designed to last forever.
Herod says, we're going to create the most spectacular physical structure in the entire Middle East, maybe in the entire world. You can see these gigantic stones at the bottom. Those are called Herodian stones. The Jewish temple to the one God stood on top of that mount before there was Islam or Christianity.
But in the year 70 AD, the Romans sacked Jerusalem and demolished the temple. In the centuries since, Jews have come to pray at its remains, the Western or Wailing Wall. It was almost 1,900 years before the site returned to direct Jewish control in 1967.
We are about 70 years into the new Israel. Why hasn't the temple been rebuilt?
2 reasons. One is because the Jews aren't ready, and the other is because the Muslims aren't ready. The state of Israel militarily, politically controls this whole area. But the state of Israel gave the Temple Mount area on the top to the Muslims.
While the top of the mount is off limits to Jewish religious rites, there are sacred spaces underground, which Yoram says will help me understand the Jewish vision for end times.
This is it. We've come to the closest that a human being can come to the Holy of Holies, the most sacred spot in the world. That's the room in the temple that one human being would enter once a year, the high priest, on Yom Kippur, on the holiest day of the year, and he would say God's name.
Orthodox Jews believe that without this temple, their religious rites are incomplete. So they await the day when their temple is rebuilt.
Is there a Messiah
In Judaism,
in Judaism?
Jews invented the Messiah. But it's not the same Messiah that most people think about.
Okay.
Right? Because when Christians think of the Messiah, they think of someone who's divine.
Yeah.
They think of, the end of days. What we have for the Messiah is a man, a king of this earth, who's going to bring peace among the nations in this world.
And he will not be divine.
He will not be divine.
And Yoram tells me this mortal Messiah has a very specific to-do list.
According to Jewish tradition, he has 3 things he's supposed to do. Number 1, he's going to reconstitute the Jewish kingdom or the Jewish state. Number 2, he's going to bring peace with the neighbors. And number 3, he's going to rebuild that temple.
Rebuild the temple. Here we are. This is 2015. What are you going to do now? What is contemporary Jewish position on the temple?
The Jews think of the world in terms of this dream that once existed in the world that was taken away. The Jews want to bring back into the world.
That is the reconstruction of the temple.
The reconstruction of the temple as the crowning symbol of this era of justice and peace that we're supposed to be assisting to bring back into the world.